Hello, this is a Jade, Leshark and friends
And Russell.
and Russell podcast. And on today's show, we're talking to executive chef and co-owner of Taste Bar and Grill Bang Tao and Taste Yamu, Martin Ostlind. Swedish-born Martin opened Taste on Surin Beach back in 2008 with his partner Jade. Martin cooks his version of amazing comfort food, and Taste has become one of the best-known restaurants in Phuket. Martin talks about his food journey, his grandmother's meatballs, his love for golf, and finally, he talks me into coming out of retirement to DJ at a 90s night. I like Martin. He's one of the most laid-back people that I know. Real cool guy. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, hey, Jay.
Hello, Jay.
Wow, you got a sultry voice when you need to.
Oh, do I?
Chef Martin.
I was thinking...
What? Hold on, let me...
No. You made the point already about the sultry voice. And I was thinking, whilst we've been having a little chat off air, really good radio voice.
Marty?
Yeah.
Really?
Marty. I think you have got a lovely voice.
Untested, man. Untested.
I'm thinking Late Night Love. Late Night Love with Marty.
It was pretty... Oh, I like that.
See?
Cool.
It's got a ring to it.
Marty just sounds like he's just got up all the time, which is generally true, though, is it not?
Very true, man. I kind of ease in.
It's a life in general.
You just had the coffee.
Yeah, man. I'm just waking up, man.
Martin, I'm going to get your surname wrong. You're going to make me say it, aren't you? Ostlind.
It's the English version of my name. It's actually Ostlind.
Ostlind.
Yeah.
I think that's what I said.
Well, it's an O with 2 dots. It's a Swedish letter. It's an O, but it doesn't translate so well. So it's
Chef
Austin.
Martin, let's just call you Party Marty, with many other names that you've had in your time. Martin, the owner, executive chef, head chef. What do you like to call yourself?
Co-owner.
Oh, co-owner.
Yeah.
Don't want
to. Firmly number 2.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be that guy who's like, no, it's all me. Yeah. Co-owner. Me, my wife, and what do you say, executive chef. My dad is a part of it too.
But he doesn't chef your dad, does he?
No, but he is the kind of the inspiration behind of all my cooking.
That and the critic.
Yeah, and a pretty harsh critic, man, I must say. But he tries not to be anymore.
So originally from Sweden.
Yep.
Grew up in Sweden. No, he doesn't.
You do not sound Swedish.
I know, Martin. I could just... And then went to Hawaii, done culinary school, and now you're in Phuket. End of the podcast. Thank you very much, Martin.
Yep, that's it. Done. Okay. Wow, that was tricky. That was a hard one.
Originally from Sweden.
Yep.
Take us away.
Take us away. Born in Stockholm. Was kidnapped by my mom at infant age and brought to Malmo in southern Sweden, where I grew up. Spent 18 years there or so, and then did a year as an exchange student in the U.S. and then university in the U.S. That's where I met Jade, and that's where the
love blossomed.
The love blossomed, yeah, you could say that. And then
probably should say that.
and also my love for cooking, kind of. I mean, I was always cooking since I was very young, but there.
When you say there, where was the love for cooking? When did you have the light bulb moment for the cooking?
Well, I can tell. Okay, so it kind of started when I was 9 years old, and it was kind of thanks to my best friend Nicholas, who he was kind of into Asian food, and one day he took me to a Chinese restaurant for the very first time, and I ate beef with bamboo shoots. And it blew me away because it was nothing like my mom's cooking or my dad's cooking, and I was really intrigued. And like, how do they make this food? And so Nicholas had this idea. We were living in kind of an immigrant area in Malmo, and he was like, man, we got to buy these Chinese cleavers, And we bought like a huge cleaver each, and I showed it to my mom, and she almost screamed because she thought I'm going to cut my hand off or something as a 9-year-old kid. And then I start chopping and just kind of experimenting. My mom she was a single mom with me and my brother, so she was working a lot. So you know, I often cooked for me and my brother and for the family.
So
That's kind of how it all
old are
started.
you, if you don't mind my asking?
43.
No,
Right.
you're not 43. You look so much
bless
younger.
you. Oh,
Yeah.
you're so cute.
So I mean, to be honest, you look sort of our age. It's like
Oh,
mid-30s.
yeah. Sure. Oh, thank you.
So no, but going back to
I know how old you are, Jade. Don't you try it, man.
yeah, I'm only 36. But going back, so when you were 9,
Yeah.
you don't have YouTube,
No.
you don't have internet, you don't have cable
No.
TV.
So it was
where
all
was the
trial and
learning?
error, man. Yeah, it was all just cooking and tasting and going, that's not
Just
good.
seeing
What-
what's in the cupboard and just
yeah,
throw that in and
exactly.
seeing
That's
exactly
what all it was. That's how I learned how to cook, was really taking very few ingredients and try and combine them. And
you must
a
have
lot
made
of
some
pastas.
garish
and-
meals.
Yeah, it was pretty. I mean,
Hit and miss.
some things were
Yeah.
some things were very inedible. But you know, that was I just loved the process. I just loved the kind
Was your mum cooking at home?
She was, but not like passionately cooking. She
But
was
just
cooking
cooking
to
for the kids
cook.
for
And-
food.
and my grandmother, my mom's mother, was actually an excellent like old school cook. You know, making meatballs and stewing and making sauces and. It was kind of funny because my grandfather always took the credit. Like, she would cook and cook and cook, and he would walk in the kitchen and just put a little sprinkle of salt in there. And then sitting around the table, he would go, "Oh, look what I made," right? And my grandmother was so sweet. She never said anything. She let him have all the credit.
Isn't that what executive chefs do, though? Because you get all your team cook behind you,
Yeah.
and when it comes to the
Yeah.
pass, you sprinkle a little
Put a
bit of salt and
parsley on
pepper.
the top.
True, man.
There you go.
I'm grandpa. Not really, but of course, you
I
need
think
a
they
strong
use another
team.
word, but anyway.
I can't. No, I can't. I mean, it's a team effort. You couldn't do.
Sure, yeah.
You couldn't do a restaurant by yourself. You know.
So what did you study in the States?
Computer science.
Okay.
Yeah, did undergrad, and then I did a graduate degree in information systems. Actually, worked a few years and
And was that in Hawaii?
Mhm.
So you was in Hawaii for how many years?
8 years.
Oh, wow, okay.
Almost 9 years. Yeah.
And were you cooking then as well?
I was, but see, that's okay. So while we were in Hawaii, we were living in student houses, and lots of international, roommates or housemate, whatever. When I say roommates, a lot of Europeans go, "What? You guys you were a lot of guys in one room?" And say, no. Anyway, housemates, and we used to, the thing was, people would have their families come to visit and things, and they would say to me, "Do you mind cooking? And here's some money." And I would do that a few times. It was a great success. We would put up a big table in the backyard, and that's kind of, how the kind of big production cooking kind of started.
And what types of things were you cooking there?
Kind of things I'm cooking here now, just my favorite things, man. I mean, some things are rooted in Sweden, not that much, but, otherwise just my things that I've learned,
So just to go back a step, your education or further education is what took you to Hawaii.
Yes.
So now it's just, and any particular reason why the States, or was it a case of just to get out of Sweden? or
I tried to not go to the States. I spent a year as an exchange student when I was 17 years old there,
Okay.
and I was in Maryland and thought it was a very bizarre experience. Like, it was like traveling 40 years back in time. It was very segregated and very strange experience. And after that, I thought, okay, well, at least I'm never going back to the States again. And then a few years later, a friend of mine says, we can get student loans if we go to Hawaii and study there. And I went, get out of here. And then, 3 months later, we were in Hawaii with our
Sweet.
bags going, wow, this is surreal, man. This is really happening.
What's Hawaii like? Because you see the beautiful kind of, this is Hawaii, it's really cool. Halula girls. Halloumi cheese everywhere. Whatever the girls are that are there, beautiful Polynesian looking women, handsome, big, chunky guys, everything's happening,
White.
surfing's going on. But then you see the Dog the Bounty Hunter bit of all the issues and all the drugs and all that.
Yeah.
So what's your view of Hawaii?
Well, it was funny you should mention Dog the Bounty Hunter, because his office was really close to where we used to hang out, but I never saw him. But I knew his office from the show and stuff. What's Honolulu? I mean, we were in Honolulu, but that's the Oahu, the island, is it's kind of like here. They have a Patong, which is their Waikiki, but it's not as sleazy, of course, and a little more Gucci,
It's a low
Fanucci.
bar.
But it probably was a lot like Patong 40, 50 years ago, I'm guessing. Otherwise, you can drive around the island much like here. You can go to a deserted beach, and I guess the ocean is stronger.
Sure.
There's a lot of big wave competitions and some insanely good surf if that's what you're into. But otherwise, it's very similar lifestyle to here. People are happy. You lock eyes with somebody, they often smile and say hello. You never met them. And
Yeah.
so I mean that's kind of what appealed to us when we came here.
Well, when did you?
Similar feel.
So, sorry, did you meet Jade there?
In Hawaii, yes.
Okay. And what was she doing?
She was working in the admissions office. We were both in school together in Hawaii Pacific University, and she was on a work study program. So she worked 20 hours a week or something, and got a massive reduction on her tuition, which we were all really jealous of. But but still that's how we met.
Sweet.
So when did you both decide to? So jumping a little bit forward, so you went from Hawaii, and then you got together.
Yeah.
And then where did you go after Hawaii?
We came straight here, actually, funny
wow,
enough. Yeah. It was just by chance. We were leaving Hawaii in, was this January 2006, I believe. And my dad, I got an email from him saying, I'm going to be in Phuket. I have an apartment in Kamala. There's an extra bedroom if you guys want to just come and hang out with me for a while.
No, sorry.
So that became the first step on us leaving Hawaii.
You said before that you were kidnapped by your mum. I don't want to.
Just
I
go-
don't want to go
yeah,
into
yeah,
how that all works.
I do.
If Interpol are listening.
Yeah.
But then, so your mum and dad obviously were separated.
Yeah.
And so, were you close to your dad, or was that a complete split? And did the phone call come out of the blue, or?
It was. I mean, I was an infant, so it's kind of interesting because I had the first dinner with them both at the same dinner table here in my restaurant in Surin when I was, I don't remember, 34 years old or something. It was the very, very first time, and I was just beaming with happiness, and I was looking. They're like, "What's going on?" I said, "This is the first time I'm at the dinner table with both you guys," and
that's
that was
fantastic.
Kind of cool. Yeah, they're on good terms and everything, but I don't know. I guess my mom wasn't fully in love. I don't know. And
No, but in terms
she
of
took me away.
So don't go into that. But in terms of, I had the same question. In terms of, you grew up with your mum, obviously, and you said you got an older brother.
Younger brother. We don't have the same dad, but
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
So
But for your dad,
yep.
At what point did you get in touch? Because if you were as an infant,
he was a good dad. He would I would meet him once or twice every year.
Cool.
So Christmases and things, and he was kind of living the big life. So I got a little slice of luxury here and there. He had a boat. He traveled the world with. I was in West Indies for when I was I don't remember 8-9 years old, something like that, and he lived in Paris and in Nice and. So I kind of, he flew me in and I got to spend some time, and then also appeals to has to do with my cooking because I got to eat a lot of like foie gras and kind of fancy stuff, and I was willing to try everything and I kind of fell in love with that side of eating as well, Michelin star restaurants and things. And I would tell my mom and my brother when I came home, and they were just rolling their eyes like, "Oh God,
he's off again."
Yeah, exactly.
So 2006, you and Jade said, "Right, okay, we'll pack up and we'll go and see Dad in Phuket."
Yeah, exactly. Actually, originally, the thing was after 9/11, man, it just got really hard to get work permits and things like that. They really made it difficult, and we really felt like we'd been there a while. We both had worked and. We felt like we're going really nowhere. It's time to get out of here.
Yeah. You Swedish are well known for terrorism.
Yeah. It's true.
That blonde hair and blue eyes. Honestly,
yeah.
Terrible people.
Yeah. Well, nobody thinks I'm Swedish.
That's true, actually.
No.
You don't come across Swedish.
Yeah.
Apart from when you cook the meatballs.
Yeah.
That's my only Swedish joke that I've crowbarred in. It was going to be the ending.
Well done.
So 2006.
It's nice to have a Muppet. A genuine Muppet. He's a Swedish chef. I mean, it's brilliant.
So did you? When was the discussion about opening the first taste? Because obviously, the first one was on Surin Beach back in the day.
Right.
So when did the discussions came? Right, we're going to come to Phuket. And did you just sit around and your dad said, "Oh, let's open a restaurant," or?
Yeah. So being here, living in Kamala for what was going to be 1 month became 2 months, and this was about a year after the tsunami or so. So there was still a lot of wreckage and stuff. I mean, not that matters, but anyway, we ate a lot at Rockfish. I don't know if you remember Rockfish, that restaurant, and such a great location and things. And we just thought, man, you know, I don't know, it's just start simmering a little bit, like thinking, because we didn't really have a plan for the future. So, I mean, what if we, you know, maybe can do a restaurant one day? And Jade's passion is art, so maybe like gallery restaurant, kind of something to combine both our kind of passions. And, you know, it kind of, because we kept eating out and talking food and cooking at home and you know, just start growing out of that. And then when we left here, we went traveling, went to Nepal, and we went to Sweden. And while we were in Sweden, I thought maybe I'll get an internship in a restaurant just to see what it's like. Because I'm, you know, being a home cook, it's definitely not the same. So you know, I managed to get an unpaid internship at this really cool restaurant in Stockholm, and worked there for a couple months and kind of understood a little bit. But also, I mean, it was intimidating because in Sweden, staff are so expensive. So the pace and the you know, I mean, it was extremely hard work, you know. And with 2 or 3 people in the kitchen, you're serving 90 seats, you know, for lunch, and it was just full on. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll never do this in Sweden, that's for sure. Yeah. But it was nice to see a well-oiled machine working like that.
So for the experience for you, it was more about the function, the systems, the process, rather than anything.
Well, it was a test to see if this is something that I really wanted to do.
Right.
Like
in the intensity of it.
Yeah, if I could handle it, if it's something. And I think right at the end of that internship, I was cooking it for my dad and stuff, and my dad said, listen, everybody's telling me not to invest with you guys, you know, beginners, to open a restaurant. He said, forget what they say. Let's do it. Let's make a restaurant in Phuket. Wow. So that's how it happened. So from then on, we left Sweden in about October and arrived here, and, you know, and from then on, we started looking for a space. And
so you went down to... Because you were on the beach, on Surin Beach, when Surin Beach was the place to be.
Yeah, but you know, the funny part was we came here and the place in Surin Beach was available to us from day one. As soon as we start throwing out questions like, well, what's available to us and things, and Surin Beach was like dead at night. It was no catch. Maybe they were just in the finishing phases of construction when we were kind of.
But that was still not a big clubbing or a nightclub.
Not at
place.
all.
That
there
was just
nothing.
a beachside restaurant.
It was just beach restaurants that shut after lunch, basically.
It was only really for their
and it was all dark and exactly and we thought, man, no, we want to do a dinner restaurant because, you know, we want to sell wine and we don't want to have to deal with beach chairs and this, that, and the other. So we, you know, but that place was available to us from day one, and we just kept saying no to it until one day. I mean, both Jade and I think we both kind of thought of the idea, but it was like a moment of clarity. It's like, of course we should be on the beach. And then we signed the contract, we start construction, and then Plow opened next door and Catch opened right at around the same time. So this was, you know, before the beach was anything, you know, and Surin Beach, as you know, it was a magical spot there.
Well, we must have met then 2007, 2008 time.
That's right. Yeah, you were one of the first
because we used
friends,
to hang out at your place all the time. And that was, and because Stereolab, and I'll still say this, and I've said this on other podcasts, that Surin Beach really benefited from Stereolab being friggin' amazing.
Yes.
Because everyone went to Stereolab. So they'd all walk past your place because people would park in the main car park and walk left. And they'd walk past your place and then into Stereolab.
Yeah, or Catch. I mean, it was great for us because we became for many people, like, you know, let's have dinner and then let's go out.
Yeah,
and
exactly
everything was on the strip there, so you could just walk up and down. And there was other cool places you could go to as well. I mean, man, I miss Surin Beach.
I miss the time.
It was such
but you're right.
a nice time.
We used to go down there. We was at your place probably every night, I would say, because I was living in Surin.
I remember your apartment there. And Surin, what was it? Surin Hills?
Surin Springs.
Springs, yeah, exactly.
You've never been around my house, and we've never done anything naughty. I just want to put it out there right now. Never, ever.
That sounds kind of gay. That sounds a bit gay.
Weird.
Anyway,
you guys Taste was for me was the hangout. Because there was me, there was Lightfoot, there was Richie Rich, there was all of us, Sandra,
yes,
there was Tess.
Exactly.
There was the whole world.
The Amampuri crew there at the time, right? And you guys.
And
it was a really amazing
and that really
time.
benefited you because then you got all the Amampuri guests would come to your place.
Sure.
And a lot of people would come to your place because you're right, there was Pla next to you, but you were really... I've got to be careful what I say about Pla because if that big dude's still around, he'll probably kill me. He was massissive though.
Yeah.
He was Austrian.
He's not around anymore.
Is he not around anymore?
No.
His wife was a scary one, I think. Out of
Yeah,
the two of
yeah.
them,
She was way scarier.
She was super
She was
scary.
way scarier.
But he was like 8 foot tall Austrian basketball player, wasn't he? He was massive.
Yeah, very
big
nice.
scary dude. But your place was upper market than Pla, and I don't mean that not posh, but you definitely had it was all nicely done. Jade did a really good job of
She did an excellent
decking
job.
it out,
Yeah.
and then you had great food, great staff, and then you had Jade at the front, you at the back, and it was just kind of a recipe that worked.
It did, but many people think it was like instant success like that. It wasn't. It was 2 or 3 years of high. We were kind of never really ready for high season because it always crept up on you. It came, at December 12th, you would go, where is the people? And by December 14th or 16th,
You smashed.
it was just rammed, So you went from 20, 30 covers a night to 130 covers a night, and that reset was so hard for us in the beginning, especially first season. I mean, Jade was, she was pregnant and she was in tears and many nights. I mean, you don't want to disappoint people, but, hungry people are probably the worst people you can deal with. Really drunk or really hungry people I've found. That's the worst.
Drunk, hungry, and pregnant. That's just...
Yeah.
When you first set up Taste, you'd never done a restaurant before. How was the process with coming up with the menu and what you're going to cook? And, because that's really a major thing. If you've never done it before.
Exactly. So I was just kind of looking at the things that I knew I could make that would taste good. So it was never really about pleasing anybody else but myself. Or, I mean, that sounds a bit weird. No, I just mean I want to do things that I knew I could do well.
Yeah.
So the menu became that, and which is kind of almost like a storyboard of my life, because I went through these phases where I used to do, spring rolls in my house, and I used to just do them every afternoon, and until I got something that was that I liked, and then I'd move on to the next thing. So the menu, even today, like everything, the concept is really strange. I mean, people who open my menu and start looking at it go, they're trying to categorize. What is it? Is this an Italian? Is it Mediterranean restaurant? But then they see a few kind of interesting Thai things, or it's a hard thing for people who've never been here. But it's basically just things that I like to eat and I like to cook.
And what I like about what you do as well is you do bring in the old style of cooking and the old style. So talking about when I was doing my fermenting and my making pickles and stuff, you still do that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Which I think is really cool because that's something that I really like and interest in is that old style of. So where did that come from?
Well, Sweden is a very a pickling nation. We used to. We used to have root cellars and stuff. I mean, before refrigeration, everybody would have a cellar and they would keep potatoes and pickles, and you get all the bounty of the autumn or fall, and you would try and preserve everything for the winter when stuff
I like what you did
grow,
there.
so.
You mentioned autumn and fall, so if there was any American listeners, they'd understand as well.
I had to dumb it down for you guys a little bit. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
So, Surin, so how was the feeling when you had to shut there?
It was, what? I mean, of course, it was sad, but it was a 1.5-year process of from the first announcement, which killed me. We were in Spain at the time visiting my dad, and I start reading the articles about Surin Beach being, illegal and all this stuff, which was totally not true, by the way. It just killed me. And then and then it just kind of kept going, and then the new articles would come out, and then it would all be extended. So basically we got 2 high seasons from the point where they said they were going to shut us down till we actually shut down. So, but at the end of it, when they finally shut us down, I didn't feel much because it was inevitable somehow. It was coming, and it had been causing so much stress anyway. So it was almost like okay, at least now it's gone. You know, now.
And this is where we're at now. Is what came after, correct?
Yeah,
Right,
Taste Bar and Grill area. Yeah.
But what was the planning process for that? Because you.
Right. So I mean, there was an overlap. This was actually open in the last high season of the beach. So what was that? 4 years ago. So when we started realizing that we were probably going to lose the place on the beach, we started looking for locations, and this came across. This used to be a spa here.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember. Yeah.
Yep.
Senses Spa.
But what was it before? I remember the Red Room used to be.
The Red Room was the
on
other
that
side.
corner.
Was
Yeah.
down there.
It used to be where
So for
Tesco
people that we
is.
should explain this. So Taste Bar and Grill is in Bang Tower. It's basically across from Tesco Lotus. Other Tesco's are available, and
Yep.
across from whichever building.
Bank?
Well, that's a
Yeah, you could say that.
whatever Foley's, and then before that was something else, wasn't it?
Yeah,
God
that
knows
was
whatever that was.
Yeah,
The Reef?
that opened
Was it
for
the Reef?
one.
Reef Bar or something?
Oh yeah, Sugar Reef.
Sugar
Reef.
Reef. That was
Yeah,
it.
that's right. That's right. That was there for a while
He was
too.
a weird bloke, wasn't he?
Yeah, I don't remember really.
I think he was.
There's
a
some
weird
characters,
Yeah.
man. There's
There's
definitely
some
some
real- yeah,
characters. Absolutely.
So you opened this one up the high season before the Surin Beach closed.
Yeah, Surin Beach closed on April 20th, which is 420, by the way. Not that matters to anyone.
Yeah. So in terms of
But what a
process-
date! I mean,
That's a
come
great-
on,
that's
pick
great. For you-
pick another date.
For you,
man.
that's a
Come
perfect
on.
day.
Yeah, well, it's memorable.
In terms of, so you opened this and had it running, but you knew
Yeah.
at that time it was a case of,
Yeah.
it's a slow transition from one
Well,
to
you know,
the
at that point we thought, okay, worst case scenario we'll have this, best case scenario we'll have both, you know,
Yeah, okay.
and that's kind of, and we wanted to stay in Phuket. I mean, our kids are born here, and you know we've got roots here, and we really wanted to stay. So, you know, at the time, I mean, yeah, what can I say? Yeah, Surin Beach. They, you know, the last year and a half or 2 years, they stopped renewing our business our food licenses, and you know, so everything became harder, and you know, our alcohol license wasn't renewed the last year, so all the things you need to have a work permit was kind of like getting like you know, what we need a legal place somewhere, you know, legal, but we need a place where we can have all these papers, you know, so and so this became that. Yeah.
And then jumping ahead again, and then you had the place in Kamala as well that you were running.
Yeah, we tried that for 2 years.
So how was that? That was you running someone else's.
Yeah,
kind of
it's a good friend of mine, Keith. He owns the condo hotel there, the Palms, and he wanted to basically outsource his food and beverage operations there. And I thought it was a great idea because you're right on the walking beach road in Kamala and stuff. Later, I found out that it's really only guest house people walking up and down that street, even though it gets very busy.
Yeah.
You know, like here we appeal to locals. We always have. I mean, even on the beach, we had a good local following and stuff. But that became impossible to build in Kamala somehow.
Well, you're an institution, I think, for the locals that have lived here. I mean, everyone knows Taste Restaurant. Everyone knows Martin and Jade. So I think you are part of the furniture in Phuket.
Well, it's been along 13 years in business now. We've made a lot of friends, and it's probably that's probably why we're still here. I mean, you know,
So then,
let's be honest.
You've also now got, not only you've been through all this, but now you've got Taste in Yamu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did that one come about?
Similar thing, man. I talked with Peter over there, who was the owner of Breeze, and also one of the developers out there, and
Peter Hamilton.
Peter Hamilton.
I kicked him at the week. I kicked him on Monday playing football. Sorry,
No,
Peter.
so
I
we
didn't mean to kick you.
Yes, he did.
He did moan at me. He did say he's 60 years old and I shouldn't be kicking him. And I was like,
He deserved it.
Yeah, well, he did a little bit, yeah.
No, but
Sorry.
he gave us this opportunity to take over the restaurant, you know, and if you've been there, you know it's a beautiful spot. I mean, it's with a sunset view and a big infinity pool and everything. I mean, it's located in in Yamu, so it's not close to anything. I mean,
It's close to me.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah, you
good-
live
it's good
right
for
around
you.
the
It's good
corner.
for me.
You
In
should
fact-
come around more often, man. What are you doing? You got to
I do pop up every now and again. You're not open that often. up there.
Yeah, only on Sundays
There
right
you
now.
go.
Yeah.
I think we are coming on. Well, we're recording this on Friday, but I'm coming on Sunday because Jade. I should say this. Jade phoned me today to say that you, Martin, had to promote her boot sale table sale,
boot sale,
whatever it is. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, lawn. We're calling it a lawn sale.
A lawn sale
Yeah.
on Sunday, but unfortunately this comes out on Tuesday, so it was 2 days ago. So it was really good. I had a great
Yeah,
time.
amazing.
what
I
a
got
great
a lot of
event.
lawn.
Yeah,
Holy
thanks very much,
moly.
Martin. Your food was amazing.
Yeah,
I bought
you
some
know,
nice
I do what I
arts
can.
and crafts. It was lovely.
Yeah. It's
Beautiful
great,
day.
great. I think we got a DJ.
Who's DJing on Sunday?
You are.
I'm not. I'm not
No,
allowed
I'm kidding.
to DJ
No,
anymore.
no.
Your missus told
Benji.
me that I'm not cool enough to DJ now, which I turned around and said I was never cool enough to DJ anyway. So I'll take it.
You did a great job, man. You've DJ'd for us many times.
I have
You
DJ'd
remember?
for
You've
you
done
many times.
New Year's.
I've done New Year's.
and
We did an 80s party where we got a 6 foot, well, not a 6 foot, it was a full-size cardboard cutout of Mr. T and Michael Jackson. Remember that night down on the beach?
Yeah, that's
Excellent.
right. Oh,
So
I
it was an
forgot about
80s
that
night.
one.
So I got them printed
That's
off.
right.
That was really good.
That was a great time, man.
I
We
do
had
like a
some
good
great
80s party.
themed parties, actually.
You
I
did
think
have some
we
great
should-
theme
It's
parties.
time to do that again, I think.
I'm just going to say exactly that. There's a number of things here that you can kind of say, oh, they were the good old days, and like theme parties, stereo labs, but there's not been places that have come up to replace them or advance them or anything. It just died and stopped. And you kind of think, well, in a lot of times
Well, I think
past,
the crowd's changed. The
yeah,
people have
you've got-
changed.
You've got to go through that cycle, but there's got to be a good enough crowd here that if you put on a certain theme party, you would get the
Absolutely.
numbers, right?
There-
Well, sorry, I would interrupt,
Yeah.
but Martin was talking when we came in off air. So here at the Taste Bar and Grill in Bang Tower, you're doing a few different nights.
Sure. Yeah, we launched our tapas and wine Thursdays yesterday.
Cool.
So, and that went really well, actually. Get 2 glasses of wine and a free tapas for 399 baht.
Sweet.
Bargain.
And yeah, it's a great deal, and you know, I mean, it's an event. You know, it gets people out of the house and you know, a reason to come and make it a little bit of unique.
Do you think people would come to an 80s night? Or a 90s night?
100. I absolutely do.
Absolutely.
If
I
you're
think it's 90s. 90s
I think
should
it- yeah,
be.
see,
it should
I'm
be
with you as
90s.
well.
It should
I'm a
be
90s
Britney
guy.
Spears.
I think you could do
should
both
be-
quite happily. You might there'll be a lot of crossover because I would do both, and I think you'll get a lot of people that would do the crossover.
But you're more of an 80s fan.
I am for the
I
for
know,
the music.
I'm sorry, Marty, but he's-
There's two
yeah.
things.
Alright.
For the 80s music, yeah,
No.
definitely. But in terms of the 90s, I mean that's like my sort of going out era.
Yeah.
Well, it's the 90s, so that floats my boat as well. But they're two different things. I would do the 80s night just for the sheer shits and giggles of it, and like, you know, dressing up and having a laugh. The 90s night I would do. I'm really going for the tunes. So
yeah, for
I would
sure,
do
but
it very
you know,
different.
imagine
You need
if
to
we
get a
dress
good.
up like the Backstreet Boys. How cool would that
You
be?
need a
like,
good DJ for the night. I'm just sort of saying.
Jade.
Why are you not
If-
looking at me anymore?
But I'm just
looking
saying,
at
if
you.
Ben's available.
Ben's a really good DJ.
Yeah.
I know. I will totally admit that Ben J is a much better DJ than I am.
But he's a twat for not
Unfortunately,
coming on the show.
yeah, he turned us down to be on the
So
podcast. So,
he's-
fuck him.
Absolutely. He's on the boat. So just before I came here today, I was talking to my mum in the office about it. She's like, so this podcast, how do I get this podcast? So I've just downloaded the last week's podcast.
Don't let your mum listen to the podcasts.
Oh, she'll be on the podcast before you know it.
Oh, no, she will. She'll
Yeah.
be taking it
But
over.
no, mate, 80s night, 90s night, absolutely do it.
Exactly.
I
See,
think
but
it would
I
rock.
feel like there's been 80s nights have popped up here and there. I don't think in 90s. I don't
I
remember
tried
anybody
one
doing
90s night.
Really?
And it went okay. But I think you could still dress up as 90s.
Yeah.
I think you just got to put little bit, like you said, Backstreet Boys, take
Yeah.
that.
But focus it
or
on
Nirvana.
Yeah, you
exactly.
focus it
That was
on the
a nice
music and,
kinda- yeah.
that cult era.
Exactly.
And you'll get the crowd in.
I think that's a great idea.
But you're
I'm
a bit of
gonna
a
plan
going
that.
off your foodie. You're a music dude. We
I love
used to
music.
sit down and talk about music all the time
All
down
the
there,
time, man.
down on the beach and coming because we were both playing the bossa nova stuff before the bossa nova stuff was
Yeah.
fucking everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. Now I
hate it.
I hate it. I fucking hate it. But anyway, yeah, I mean, you know, it's like anything. You get too much.
Because that's
of
when we
it,
were
but-
first downloading
yeah,
on
yeah.
what was it,
LimeWire.
LimeWire?
Yeah,
Yes.
good old
LimeWire.
LimeWire. I remember that too. God bless LimeWire. Actually, do you remember Napster, man?
Napster, yeah.
Napster
I
started
Napster
it,
was the
man.
start.
I never got into Napster. I got
Oh,
into
really?
LimeWire was my first entrance into the downloading stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Semi-illegally.
Yeah,
ish.
you know, I mean, come on. It's
It's there.
But is it still...
yeah, it's music. It's for everyone.
You've still got music playing, so is that still is it still something
Absolutely.
you go into? Do you do your own music here?
I do my own music, of course. I mean, Ben J likes to think that he's helped me out a little bit, and he has. You know, I mean, you know,
What
bless
not to
him,
play?
You know, He's given me a few ideas, but yeah, I mean, 98% is me, but I love music, and I love we're gonna have happy hour here very soon tonight, and I usually queue up.
Six
When you say
8.
very soon.
I believe, is it 6 till 8 every Friday?
Yeah,
It's
6
2
to 8.
o'clock. Is it? How soon are we talking?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta start. I mean, some people start coming in at 5:30 already. They're ready to go. So
That's Friday. No
It's
one's
Friday,
got any work.
you gotta kick it off. You gotta do it right.
Should we start here tonight?
But you gotta have the good songs, the anthems. A lot of it's from all kinds of, from the 60s all the way up to current.
Oh, there's some cracking 90s anthems. Yeah, and I'm sold. Let's do a 90s night, dude.
I think we should. I
Yeah.
wanna do
Well,
it.
I've just done a whole, on my affair podcast, I was doing a 90s podcast at the moment, so I'm just going through all the different news stories and all the different music from the 90s.
Will you DJ?
So-
Yes.
I'll come out of retirement for 90s night, yeah.
90s. All right.
But I'd only do it with
that's a
Ben, if
verbal
Ben J does it with me, if we do a couple of hours each. Because I don't want it to
okay.
be an issue, because he'll get all upset because, I'm coming back on his patch.
But you're not getting paid.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Fair enough. Typical,
goes through the whole night.
typical taste restaurant. Don't get paid for entertaining the crowd.
You
I mean, a
can
great
get
night,
paid. I mean,
but,
come
you know.
on.
Oh, no, I'm
The
happy
amount
to
you drink, I mean, shit. You're not gonna,
a couple of
you should pay us.
Heinekens.
You should still.
That's fine.
You still, yeah.
The other passion you've got is golf. So where does the golf passion come from?
Bizarre, man. Me and Mark Lightfoot, if you remember, he kind of introduced me to golf. He just thought, let's go and play.
I didn't realise that. So you only just started playing here. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm still pretty terrible at it, but I don't really care. It's more of a social thing, to be honest. It's nice to get out, get away, and if you just immerse yourself in one thing, you go crazy. So golf is my kind of little getaway.
I like the idea of golf. I really do. I get that because let's catch up. We're gonna play 9 holes, have a chat, fuck around with it, not really care too much about it. But at the same, it's one thing doing that than going to say play football, which is you're sort of immersed in that sort of hot pocket of it for a certain amount of time. I like that. At the same time, you've got to have a reasonable level. I feel anyway, and I'm very sporting competitive. So if I can't smack the ball down the fairway, I'm just like, fuck this, I'm not interested.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. You gotta
my
have
dogs.
really low expectations on yourself.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the thing. And you lose a handful of balls. I mean, it's just.
Is this how you talk to your kids? You got to have really low expectations of yourself.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Set the bar really fucking low.
Then it's just you'll shine. But
But
it's
you've
social.
always had
It
quite a
doesn't
chilled
frustrate.
attitude anyway. So did you get frustrated when you play golf or not at all?
I mean, rarely. Let me put it that way. Rarely. Of course. I mean, when you put the 4th ball in the lake, you're kind of like, man, come on, give me a break. But I mean, still, it goes over and it passes. And next hole is the thing is, nobody else really cares about your game, and that's the good thing about golf.
Yeah.
You can
It's all
play
about your own
with
game.
professionals. I played with guys who've won like amateur championships in Hong Kong and stuff, and I played with guys who are much worse than I am. And it doesn't really matter, Nobody really cares. I mean, you can have a competitive game, but it's not, it's still all laughs, Nobody cares.
So what's the plan for Taste?
Taste Future.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have a 90s party. Tonight's happy hour, man, Fridays. I need to really promote that. That's a good time, and I think everybody who comes gets to meet other people, and it's a good,
Social scene.
that starts the weekend for people and puts everybody in a good mood.
And so obviously you've got this one that's like the Bangtao one. We're open as normal at the moment.
Yeah, it's only open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays.
Okay.
So and then Sundays in Yamu, but only for brunch. So that's 12:30 till 4:30.
So you're playing a lot of golf on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays.
Not really. I'm only playing on Saturdays at the moment. My son Leo is getting really into golf, and that's I must say. So I've working a lot, working evenings especially. You kind of your kids going to school in the daytime and being home at night. You don't see them as much, and golf has really helped me and my son connect, and now my daughter. She's going to start the international program in September or end of August. So she's been free for many months, and she's been working with me here in the restaurant. And we really have connected through cooking. You know, she loves it. And so I feel like, even though COVID has been affected businesses negatively, it's done wonders for my family.
That's great. That's a real positive.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of negative for a lot of people throughout the year.
Sure.
But it is good to take out those positive moments. And, well, you know, that in particular for me or for you or whoever.
Sure.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it's great, man. I COVID. Yeah. Go COVID.
And so, but taking COVID out of the equation sort of momentarily, at the beginning of this year, did you have, whether it's for this year or beyond, you know, this is the plans maybe we've got for Taste, and I'm assuming those have changed, or is it something we can just say, well, we'll do it still, but it'll be a little bit later?
Yeah, what really is the future? I think, we kind of gave up on Kamala right before the high season, and that was, last high season was a killer, trying to run 3 restaurants with not quite enough staff, and I felt, and Kamala really consumed a lot of energy, and we couldn't really get it to work. Yamu was new, but I couldn't really quite oversee it enough, and it was driving me completely crazy. So now I'm just happy to have 2 restaurants, and we're trying to just I guess evolve and move forward.
Cool.
I mean, no big plans on going global or none of that. More scaling it down to something that's really manageable, and also now I'm loving cooking a lot more. I mean, we have a very small team at the moment, and everybody's on board. It feels really, it's a different feeling right now.
What are you cooking at the moment? What's new and exciting in your chef's life?
Well, I can't really give you any dishes, but what I do now is I do a 1-page menu. With huge font, which people have been complaining about, because a lot of my average age of my customers can be pretty high. Somebody said that they looked at the menu the other day and said, "Oh, finally, you're appealing to your demographic," they said. But it allows me to keep it really fresh. I rotate things in and out every week, and I'm experimenting with new things, and I feel like I'm kind of back to where we were in the beginning on the beach, where we just kind of testing things out again and playing around with food rather than, making it commercially, a big factory, cranking it out.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
That's a good question, actually.
He does that occasionally.
Yeah, no, that's so hard.
It's been 40 minutes. I've got one good question.
I'm
happy with that.
I can't really say for sure. I just love the feeling when I've created something that I'm proud of, and then people like it, That feeling is, it can be anything, man. Actually, to be honest, it's comfort food is my passion. You're not going to see me with a tweezer putting on little flowers and decorating a plate with, pink brushes and all this stuff. It's not really our style. It's more comfort food. It's But when I get that little thumbs up as people are leaving, or they come up to the window and say, "Wow, thank you, that was really memorable," that just makes my day. I just get goosebumps. I get goosebumps now thinking about it.
That's just looking at me, darling.
Yeah.
Well, I've eaten it. You've eaten it. I've eaten the Surin one. I've eaten the Yamu one. I never came down to the Kamala one, to be fair.
You didn't miss much. No.
I've always loved the food here, I have to say.
Thank you. Yeah.
General sort of, as Jay mentioned, calm, easygoing demeanor.
Sometimes. I bet some people would disagree with that. But anyway, okay.
She's not here,
she's not here.
That doesn't go well with the typical chef, hothead, explosive.
No, but of course it's hard. Sometimes you get frustrated especially when you start falling behind in the kitchen and there's a mistake made. It can be by me or somebody else, but it holds up the whole queue. That can be extremely frustrating sometimes, but of course you got to try and keep a cool head. Or somebody makes a mistake, you tell them you made a mistake, and then you try and clear it so you don't you don't keep that anger all night. But it's frustrating sometimes.
You don't go full on Gordon Ramsay in the kitchen.
I have thrown things. Not
at people.
Not at people. But I have been frustrated with tuna steaks being overcooked and stuff from the grill, and I've gone out and I've crumbled them and throw them on the ground and say, "Now do it right." And then afterwards, my staff, they've been working with me a long time. They know I'm not, I'm not, this is nothing personal. This is just, I want the quality to be a certain level. And if it's not that, then we have to do it again. It's nothing It's always better to make a customer wait than to give them something that's substandard, you know.
Yeah.
What's your I was going to ask, do you get frustrated when people tell you how to cook a certain dish? So, for example, because there's one of our friends, who I won't mention her name, but she used to work at Amampuri, was very precise how she would want
Oh my God.
the food. What is that like for you?
You know, there's those people. There are people who are, you know, I want the dressing on the side, and I want no tomatoes, but I want extra cucumber. I want this, that, the other. And once you please those people and they're happy, it's very satisfying. You know, I don't mind that. And then there's people who tell you that you should be doing this better. You should be cooking it this way instead of that way. And you know, I don't really take offense. It's a learning thing, cooking, and if somebody, you know. Somebody wants to tell me how they make their meatballs, I'm going to listen. I'm not too proud to say, you know, no, I'm doing it the correct way. You know, even my food, I always keep trying to make it better. And I've told the staff too many times, like if anybody wants to challenge anything I do, we make it together and then we taste it. And if your way is better, we go with your way. I'm not
And then I'll
proud,
throw a
I'm
knife
not
at you.
Proud of that. Yeah.
Before
really.
Russell asks his question, meatballs,
Yeah.
breadcrumbs in or no breadcrumbs in?
Definitely breadcrumbs, man.
Okay.
But you got to soak the breadcrumbs. Okay, so my grandmother, she makes it like this, man. She takes breadcrumbs, she soaks them in milk, and that could take a good 15, 20 minutes. So don't take the minced meat and throw in you know, the breadcrumbs and then, you know, whatever. She used milk, but you know, or egg. I don't use egg, but anyway, don't put all that together, because then it all, you know, you don't really know what you're gonna get. Better soak the breadcrumbs, get that really slushy, gooey consistency, and then mix it with the mince.
There you go.
Then you get really tender, lovely meatballs. And at the moment, actually, we're doing something that maybe my grandma wouldn't approve of. We're actually steaming the meatballs very gently first, and then we pan-sear them after.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I really want meatballs now.
Yeah, so that keeps them more moist. You know, if you go straight from raw
And there's
in a
nothing
pan,
better than a moist ball.
What sort of
Okay.
things have you got on your bucket list?
That's a good question. I'm kind of struggling with. Yeah, thanks a lot. I'm struggling with kind of what I'm so kind of happy and satisfied. I want to travel more. I think that's what's coming up more and more. I want
You and
to.
everyone else at the minute, mate.
Yeah, you know, but not necessarily outside of Thailand. I want to see
Yeah.
more of Thailand. I mean,
Well, you
I've
just
been here
came
long
back
enough.
from your golf. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
As I've been told off by one of our listeners about interrupting the guests.
Yeah.
You just went up to Hoi Hin
I
to play golf.
did,
What was that
yeah.
like?
That was fantastic. Great experience. Hua Hin is much like here. There's not much going on there. So traffic is non-existent. You know, getting to and from the golf courses is easy. Nighttime, you know, most places are shut, but the ones that are open are still very optimistic, and you get greeted with honest, happy smiles. You know, that commercial thing that's built up, I find that over the last 10 years in Thailand is maybe clearing out. Or I
The
felt
fake
like there was
Thai smile, you mean? The fake greeting and
just
the
the
fake
commercialism.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be such a. It felt like that anyway. When I came 14 years ago, it felt like it was such a honest, up to you, genuine smile kind of place. And over the last few years, I feel like it's just become this commercial, more money-making thing. I mean, it's natural, I guess. It's a natural progression of, you know, big hotels and whatnot, and you know, you got to make money, you got to, you know, so. But I think this if Hua Hin is anything to judge from the future, I think that's exactly where we're heading now. I think it's a humbling experience for everyone. You're really happy to see customers
Anyone.
coming in your place.
It's
Yeah,
a reset.
anyone at all.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a
me
total
too. I'm
reset.
ecstatic when somebody comes here.
Have you got any goals, bucket list goals for golf? Is there any courses you'd love to play on or anything like that? Or is that not really
You know,
something
I don't
you're-
even watch golf on TV.
There's this guy called Tiger Woods. Don't know if you've ever
Oh
heard of him.
yeah.
I'd love to go to the
I've
Ryder
heard
Cup.
about him. I would-
Really?
Yeah.
For me, it's still social. As long as I can do it with my buddies, man. I would hate to go and play a golf course by myself. I mean, it could be Augusta or whatever. I want my friends around me. You know,
Yeah.
that's why we're playing. You know, so no real no real bucket
You're just
list, but
content.
I'm too
happy.
content, man. I'm actually a little worried about myself. 'Cause, where's the hunger, man? I don't know. I have everything I want. My families, they're all, I've got a great family, and everybody's happy, and school's going good.
If I can
Everybody's healthy.
If I may give you just a small piece of advice, then tune in next week when we've interviewed Jade, and there's a fucking list of shit that.
What's next week? What do you?
Martin, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Very interesting story. And make sure you come to Taste Restaurant. The Bangtao one is open Thursdays, Fridays,
and
and
Saturdays.
Yep. And then the Yamu is open for brunch on Sundays.
Sunday.
What time are you open Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
We open at 6.
Okay.
6 p.m. But if you're here at 5, I'm not gonna say go away.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Well,
but listen, anybody.
It's 2:15. I'm just.
Happy hours from 6 till 8 every Friday.
Yeah, that's right. And wine and tapas on Thursday. That was a smashing success yesterday. So I really recommend, if you like wine.
And tapas.
And tapas.
Place to be.
Place to be.
And speaking of smashing it, 90s party.
90s party is coming up, man. Let's do this. We're gonna set the date.
Oh, I better get my old DJ controller
Yeah,
out.
you better get it out. Get it out of the old dusty.
It is really dusty, I know. All right, Marty, thank you very much for your time.
Cheers, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Nice
Thank
one.
you,
Russell,
guys.
thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Bye.
Welcome to the outro.
I'm a little uncomfortable, I've got to be honest.
Why are you uncomfortable?
Because you're standing up.
I know.
And it's it all of a sudden struck me that it's really awkward that you're standing up.
Do you feel intimidated by me?
Yeah, because I'm sitting down.
Well, that's obvious because you keep saying I'm stood up. This
Do
is
you
the
want me to stand up? I can stand up as well if you like.
No, because that would be weird then.
It would. That'd
That's
just be
like we're
odd.
it's like we were about to do a duel of something with these two microphones.
We can
I'm going to
joust
look
with a
this way.
microphone.
This is quite, I've not done this stand up before. I quite like
Do
it.
you like our mural?
Yeah, we're back at Canine. I was going to say Canine Point Academy. I am going to say Canine Point Academy. We recorded Martin at Taste in Bangtown. Now we've come to Canine Point Academy to do the outro. I do like your new mural.
It's nice, isn't it?
It is nice. That was Martin.
That was really cool. I really enjoyed that.
He's got a great story. I like Martin, and there was many stories that we couldn't tell.
You mentioned that, yeah.
Yes,
And obviously you've known him more intimately a lot longer than I have.
Not sexually
For want
intimately.
of a better term.
I've known Martin and Jade pretty much since I've been here, since they had Taste on. I will get down because stand up was a bit weird.
I know I went to Taste, the original Taste on Surin Beach. I just don't remember much of
No,
it.
we weren't really friends then. You was living down south and other places.
Yeah, I was a Katu Phuket town kind of guy.
Yeah.
And then
You were with the weirdos.
we met later. Well, we met at the white party. I think it was the first white party at Catch.
Yeah. Well,
So-
I was a Surin. I was the hanger out of Surin. We were the Surin crew.
Yeah.
I was part of the cool kids back in the day. I'm not cool anymore. But no, it was really popular. Really popular.
Yeah.
Honestly, we used to go there every single night, hang out there, have some drinks, eat some food, and then go on afterwards wherever we went.
Which is kind of what they've replicated at the new place in Bank, COVID aside, obviously, but with the new place in Bangtech, new place.
Yeah,
the current
just sadly
place.
it doesn't have Stereolab next door to it.
Yeah.
Which would be awesome.
Yeah, that was a cool place.
But no, Martin's a good guy. Go check out his happy hour on Fridays from 6 till 8.
And we will definitely be promoting the shit out of the 90s night. I'm very excited about that.
90s night, which we seem to have talked ourselves into. I believe there was no financial...
I don't care. I'm in.
Well, I know, but I'm the one that's got to play
I'm
the
just
music.
going to go and turn up and drink and have fun.
Very true. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, like us on Twitter. But actually,
Phuketpodcast.com.
that's it. Just go to that one.
Yeah.
And if you need your dog trained or you want to have somewhere for your dog to sleep and stay for either short or long term, happy times or non-happy times, then come to Canine Point Academy, as I like to call it. But you'll change it to Canine Point.
Well, it is Canine Point, but the Academy is part of Canine Point.
So you got Canine, but that's just confusing from a branding point of view. For the last, however many, 46 episodes, I've always said Canine Point Academy, and now you're telling me I was wrong the whole time. So I've got to go read-back and edit them all up.
Or just say, check out caninepointacademy.com.
I'm going to stand up again. Or just check out caninepointacademy.com.
Thank you.
Thanks, Russell.
Bye, buddy.
Bye.